Welcome back to another video of Bill's Ramblings. We're going to go back in time. Again, it seems that I like to do that. I like to go back to when I was a kid. And this is going to be back on 47th Drive again, back when I was 13 years old. That's when it starts. It's going to go over a course of several years, all the way till I'm 17, but I'm not going to be specific on that. I just wanted to let you know that it's going to start about the time I was 13 and I was in 8th grade. We had recently moved back from Iowa and moved into the house on 47th Drive. And during the summer, I met a girl down the street around the corner. Her name was Dee, and she was kind of my girlfriend. You know how girlfriend and boyfriends are back then. So we liked each other, and we kind of hung out and rode bikes around together. And well, anyway, they lived on the street, one street away from us, and her father, his nickname was Rocky, and he worked for Wholesome Bakery, and he'd worked there a long time, and we got to hanging around with Rocky. Benny and I did, and Rocky liked to go hunting, and we liked to go hunting. We had never been hunting, but once we went, we decided we liked to go hunting, and we'd go out and we'd go rabbit hunting. And I had Benny and I both got a single shot 22 rifle for Christmas. And so we'd go out there and shoot rabbits with our little single shot. You know, it made us really have to focus when you only have one shot and that rabbit could be running. Eventually, I ended up buying a 1022, Ruger 1022, which was a fantastic rifle. I still wish I had it today, but it's gone. And but anyway, so we used to go hunting with Rocky, and we really liked him a lot. He was, I don't know, I guess you could say he's kind of a man's man, a tough man, and kind of rough around the edges, but he liked to hunt. He had a sand rail. And that was exciting for us. And he had bought an old 1954 Chevy truck from Wholesome Bakery that used to be a delivery truck. And he was in the process of turning that into a great big four-wheel drive truck. Well, back then, they didn't have big monster trucks like they do now. And so we kind of thought that was exciting. He had great big tires on it. He jacked it up, and he took out the engine and put in a bigger engine, and he was in the process of really modifying it and making it some really big truck. And so the sand rail was neat, and he also had a fiberglass buggy, Volkswagen buggy. He had that, and so I used to hang around a lot there because, of course, Dee was my girlfriend, and I got to know Rocky, and he'd take us hunting every now and then. And so over the years, we'd go hunting. We generally like to go hunting out in Wickenburg. I say we liked, but I mean Rocky was the one, and he would take us out, and we'd go hunting in Wickenburg a lot. Out past Wickenburg, just out in the desert, and we'd go early in the morning, and we used to stop on our way through Wickenburg at an old convenience store on the way out of town. I'm sure it's gone now, but we'd stop there, and Rocky would get some coffee and a dozen donuts, and we'd usually eat those donuts and maybe have a hot chocolate or something while he had his coffee, and we'd go probably another hour out into the desert, and then when the sun would be coming up, and we'd proceed to start rabbit hunting. And rabbit hunting meant that we'd walk around all over the place, and if a rabbit jumped up, we shot it. And if it was a jackrabbit, we shot it for target practice and to have fun. And if it was a cottontail, of course, we shot it and brought it back home and ate it. And so we have two stories I want to tell you today. And these all took place probably when I was a little closer to 17, maybe 16, because I did have my 1022 at this time. And Rocky had a neighbor down the road by the name of Butch that was a friend of his. And he decided Butch wanted to go hunting with us. And so Rocky and Butch rode in the cab of the truck, and Benny and I rode in the back of the truck all the way out to Wickenburg. And we had like always, we had a dozen donuts. And So we had been out hunting all day, and it was getting on into the afternoon, and we were about ready to turn around and come back. And oh, by the way, while we were out there, we'd also hunt rattlesnakes, and so we'd shoot rattlesnakes, and we'd bring those home. And I used to save the skins and make hat bands out of them. And so anyway, rattlesnakes and rabbits. And so we had been out hunting all day, and we all kind of trickled back into the where the truck was, and we'd sat down, and Rocky had gotten there first, and he asked if anybody wanted the last of those donuts, and I don't know, somebody said sure, and anyway, they ate the last of the donuts, and Rocky says, "Hey, check this out," and he took a rattlesnake that he had killed recently, and he had cut the head off, and he says, "Watch this," and he put it in the donut box. And so we're all sitting there. Of course, Benny and I are in the back of the truck, and Rocky's in the front, and Butch climbs in, and he's got that box of donuts there in between them on the bench seat. And so we get to going down the road, and Rocky kind of says to Butch, he says, "Hey, Butch, there's one donut left there. Do you want that?" And Butch is like, "Nah, I don't think I want that. No, I don't. Thanks." So Rocky's like, "Okay." And away they go, and we're going down the road, kind of putting through the desert, and all of a sudden, Butch changes his mind. And so he reaches over, and he grabs that Dunkin' Donut box and opens the lid. And, of course, the snake is in there moving around. You know, rattlesnakes will move around quite a bit, even after they're dead. Oh, I tell you what, that Butch let out a scream, and, of course, a lot of profanities, and opened up the truck door, jumped out as he's throwing the box, and the rattlesnake, as he's yelling back at Rocky. By now, Rocky stopped the truck, and Benny and I are just rolling around on the back of the truck, just laughing like nobody's business. And Rocky's laughing so hard he can't even see straight, and Butch is out there doing a dance and yelling and screaming and about this, you know, his snake in the donut box. And so he wasn't a happy camper, and I don't know that Butch ever trusted Rocky again after that. But so we sure got a laugh out of that. And so that's the first story. And I wanted to go on to a second story, and this one involves me more predominantly than anybody else. Butch didn't go on this time. There was another young man that lived down the road. His name was Todd. And so this particular night, it was Rocky and Benny and me and Todd. And we're driving around. We went out to Wiggenburg, and this time we were going to do night rabbit hunting. And night rabbit hunting is exciting because we're kind of like rat patrol. And so Benny was in the passenger seat of the truck, and Rocky, of course, was driving. And Todd and I were in the back of the truck, and we were standing up on the side of the truck, not down in the bed. And we would take our rifles and lean them over the windshield and take our fingers, and we'd kind of hook them in the top part of the windshield so that we could, not fall off. Rocky he'd get to going, and he'd see a rabbit, and he'd want to take off chasing. Maybe that's where I got that idea of chasing rabbits and applied it to the horses. You remember that video? And Cindy okay. So anyway, we were hanging onto the windshield and up there, and then Rocky would see a rabbit, and, we'd start shooting at it. And this particular time, this rabbit took off, and, we're out in the middle of the desert, and it's full of cactuses and jumping cactus and saguaros and prickly pears and all kind of cactuses you can think of. Well, anyway, that rabbit took off, and Rocky just thrumps that truck and just takes off. Man, he's going fast. And he's zigging and zagging and everything through around the cactuses. And Todd and I are trying to hang on for dear life up there. Of course, we were having a blast. Until all of a sudden, that rabbit took a hard left turn. And Rocky took that hard left turn right with that rabbit. And all of a sudden, and I shoot left-handed. And so I'm holding my 10-22 with my left hand, and I got my right hand hooked on the windshield up there like that. And all of a sudden, Rocky takes a hard left, and he's going pretty fast. And all of a sudden, I went zing off the truck, and I'm still holding my rifle in my hand, and I got my right hand out like this, and I'm thinking, oh man, I sure hope I don't land in a cactus. And I look over to the left, and there's my brother, Benny, and he's looking out the window of the truck, and he just looks at me, and I look at him, and I'm zinging through the air, and Rocky's taking off after the rabbit, and he never even slowed down. All of a sudden, I hit the ground with my feet, and we're going, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 miles an hour. And so I hit the ground with my feet. I didn't hit a cactus. Boy, was I blessed. And I went head over tea kettle with my head and stuck my rifle in the ground and went flipping out across the dirt. And I stood up, and I'm thinking, well, Rocky, Benny saw me. Benny saw me fall off the truck. And so he's probably telling Rocky, hey, we got to take care of Bill. And I'm sitting out there in the desert. It's pitch black, and the truck tail lights go zigging and zagging, and it just keeps on going through the desert. Eventually, I don't even see the tail lights anymore. And I'm thinking, man, my brother is going to leave me out in the desert, and Rocky doesn't even know that I'm out here. I guess, anyway, after a few minutes, the truck starts turning around, and the secret is they weren't going to let that rabbit get away. They were going to keep hunting that rabbit and I guess come back and try to find Bill later. I don't know. But the rabbit got away, and they started coming back. And so the story is going to take place now where Benny's in the cab of the truck, and he sees me zing off the side like this, hold my rifle, kind of looks over at me like he did, and I look over at him. And he's going down the road, or down through the desert, and he leans over to Rocky, and he says, hey, Rocky, we lost Bill. And Rocky looks over to Benny and says, what do you mean we lost Bill? Well, I don't know. I looked out the window, and he was zinging off into space. And Rocky says, why would he do that? And Benny says, well, I don't know, Rocky, but he did. He went zinging off into space. And Rocky's like, oh, okay. And he's still zooming down the desert after that rabbit. And I don't know that my brother Benny really stood up for me or anything. Maybe he, but whatever. They eventually turned around and came back to find me. And of course, we got to remember Todd was on the back of the truck too, and he saw me go zinging off, and he didn't say anything. He didn't bang on the top of the truck and said, hey, Rocky, looking in the window, hey, Rocky, we lost Bill. They just left old Bill out there in the desert. So I don't know, maybe Todd was laughing so hard that I went zinging off into the desert that he couldn't even do anything. And so anyway, they turned around and came back, and they said, stop the truck, and said, hey, Bill, what are you doing out here in the desert? And I said, why in the world did you leave me and just keep on going? They said, well, we're not going to let the rabbit get away just because you decided to go zinging off the truck. So anyway, I did have to get the cleaning kit out and get the dirt out of the end of the barrel before I could shoot at any more rabbits, because it had gone down in the ground, a good 2 or 3 inches, and it plugged up that barrel on that rifle. And so I couldn't shoot anything till I got the dirt out of it. And anyway, the rest of the night we had a pretty good hunting session, and we had a good time, and nobody got hurt. I didn't land in a cactus, and I didn't break a leg or anything like that. And it was a good time we all had, and we had a lot of fun and stuff when we'd go and do these hunt trips. And so anyway, there's a couple stories of when I was between 15, 16 years old, and hunting rabbits out in Wickenburg. I want to thank you for joining me in another Bill's Ramblings, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye now.